Former President Trump is accusing the Biden administration of using FEMA funding to support undocumented migrants. How is the White House responding to that?
I mean, it's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement. And look, the fact of the matter is, I think Washington Post fact checker did a piece, and the headline recently, just moments ago, not too long ago, and the headline was, "No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did."
Several months later.
But Adams' resolve is already being tested. City Hall confirming that the federal government has now clawed back more than $80 million in FEMA grants the Biden administration awarded the city to house migrants. Adams says that they are requesting an emergency meeting with FEMA and are exploring all legal options.
We have reached out to the White House. We want to find out exactly what took place. It was unfortunate the previous administration left us with a huge price tag, and we want to sit down and explain how we should believe that the cost of the national issue should not be on the backs of us.
But immigration is one of the reasons why the Justice Department is asking prosecutors to drop the charges, writing in their memo that Adams' indictment was pulling his focus away from issues like illegal immigration and crime. Coincidentally, Trump's border czar Tom Homan is meeting with Adams in the city on Thursday. But Adams' attorney Alex Spiro insists that Adams never promised anything in order to get these charges dropped.
Of course not. That's absurd. There is no looming threat. This case is over. This case will never be brought back. It wasn't a real case in the first place.
This is highway robbery. This is the federal government having already allocated, authorized, awarded, invoiced, and paid $80.5 million to the city of New York. And then Elon Musk, with no legal authority, seizing it back.
Boy. So we got to talk about some fascinating politics that is currently playing out in New York as Democrats are feeling the heat from the Trump administration. Okay, we have ratcheted up. Attorney General Pam Bondi came out and announced a bombshell lawsuit against the New York Democrats, Letitia James, Kathy Hochul, and others who are responsible for obstructing the federal government from being able to enforce federal laws against illegal immigration. Okay, they are being a pain in the ass when it comes to cooperating with the mass deportations, which would be a lot cheaper for taxpayers if the sanctuary cities and states cooperated, but they're not. So at this point, the Trump administration needs a pawn to help take down some of these Democrats, and that is where New York Mayor Eric Adams comes in, who just got his charges that were brought against him by the Biden administration dropped by the Trump administration.
Trump wants to get Letitia James and Alvin Bragg. That's what this story is all about. Nothing else there. He went after Illinois because he wants to get Pritzker. Hates him. And the way to do that is to deny the states of Illinois and New York the federal grant money. The New York Post reports today $8 billion is going to get held up by the Justice Department that would have flowed into New York State, which is running an astronomical deficit here. Okay? So the easiest way to do this is to file civil suits against the governor and the attorney general. Then the question was, why is the mayor of New York left out? Because he doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. Trump wants to get Letitia James. Hochul is just an ornament. Doesn't have any bad feeling toward Hochul, Trump. But Adams, the deal that was made, I don't know what Adams is giving Trump. I have to tell the audience up front. I don't know, and I don't use anonymous sources, but I have gotten call after call after call that said, and all of these people have agendas who are calling me. They all have agendas, all right? And they're saying that Adams knows where the bodies are buried with James and Bragg. Just throwing it out for your consumption. I'm not reporting it to be true, but it kind of makes sense, right?
Well, it's kind of weird that, like, you can say he has no power, but he's in charge of the city. And when they went after Pritzker in Illinois, they named Chicago and they went after mayor. I'm just saying, if you're going after the city of Chicago, you name the mayor.
No, Johnson and Adams have no power whatsoever. None. They do what they're told to do. The real power lies in the state legislature. Now, in both Illinois and New York, the state legislature gives the big middle finger to Homeland Security. Because blank you, maybe Anderson Cooper could articulate it a little more than I am by using some vernacular, but that's what's happening. And the Trump administration knows that these mayors, this is like the utility infielder on the New York Yankees who plays maybe 3 innings a week. These guys have no power. They do what they're told to do. The big power is Newsom in California. Newsom's next. Hey, Gavin, they're coming for you. Pritzker's going to get destroyed, and Trump will bring down, and I'm going to predict it here, he will bring down Letitia James and Alvin Bragg because they went on a crusade to destroy him. And President Trump is not a forgiving man.
Yeah. So low key, I think Bill O'Reilly is spot on, right? I think he's 100% spot on when it comes to this idea that, you know, Letitia James, Kathy Hochul, some of these Democrats, Gavin Newsom, right? They're going to have a hard time dealing with the Trump administration. Because let's be real. The vast majority of the illegal immigrants are in these big blue states, right? Which all these states have sanctuary city laws at the state level and at the local level. So if the mass deportation are to be successful, then we're going to have to cripple these blue states until they comply. That's basically is what's going to have to happen, right? The Trump administration is going to have to cripple these Democrats, right? I mean, he's going to have to break them to the point where they're on their knees begging for forgiveness, right? Begging. Because ultimately, as long as these sanctuary city policies are in place, the mass deportations aren't going to be as efficient as they should be, and taxpayers are going to spend more money than we need to spend to conduct his operation, okay? And when it comes to Democrats like Mayor Adams, on the other hand, people like him, they're useful tools, okay? They're useful tools to help achieve that agenda. However, the problem is, like Bill O'Reilly also pointed out, is that Mayor Adams is a puppet. He's currently a puppet of the Democrats in New York because he doesn't have any real power as mayor. And we're kind of finding this out because he is panicking along with other Democrats about the FEMA funds that were snatched. I mean, quite literally, the Trump administration, the government went into the bank account of the New York City government and took the money out. They took the money out, $80 million. They snatched the $80 million and FEMA funds that were sent to the city to house illegal immigrants under the Biden administration. And now the Democrats, including Mayor Adams, they're boohoo whining and crying about it. Now, Mayor Adams is meeting with Tom Homan because Tom Homan is not happy with Eric Adams. He's not happy with the fact that Eric Adams has not cooperated as he should be cooperating with the mass deportations, in the sense that as mayor, he's not using his emergency powers to basically overrule the sanctuary city laws in the city and in the state. And Tom Homan is basically sending a message. The Trump administration is sending a message to Eric Adams that, listen, you got to decide, whose puppet are you going to be? Are you going to be the puppet of the Democrats? Or are you going to be the puppet of the Trump administration, which saved you from federal prison time, right? I'm just saying, that's what's happening here. That is the politics. So without further ado, let's get into this.
But first, all eyes on Lower Manhattan, where Mayor Adams is meeting President Trump's border czar, what the mayor is now saying about New York's longstanding status as a sanctuary city. And good afternoon, I'm David Navarro.
I'm Sandra Bookman. We're going to begin with that breaking news. A major meeting today between New York City Mayor Eric Adams and President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. Immigrants and immigration advocates across the city are watching very closely. This high-stakes powwow coming just a short while after Trump's Justice Department dropped the corruption charges against Adams and then set its sights on Albany, suing New York State for allegedly resisting federal immigration enforcement efforts.
Ahead of the meeting, Homan did not mince words about what he is looking for. He wants the mayor to dedicate NYPD officers to assist ICE agents during their enforcement efforts. In recent years, the mayor defended New York's status as a sanctuary city. But a lot has changed in that time.
Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett live this afternoon in Lower Manhattan with the latest. NJ?
And Sandra, as we all know, what's happened is that the mayor has gotten a reprieve on his federal criminal case from the Trump Justice Department. He is now expected to facilitate deportations, but his hands in doing that may be tied by the city charter. On the 9th floor of Federal Plaza, Mayor Adams is facing a test. How far is the city willing to go to assist the Trump administration's large-scale deportation efforts? In a previous meeting with Tom Homan, President Trump's border czar, Adams pledged the city's cooperation in deporting violent migrants. But there are indications that Homan wants the city to do more, that NYPD officers be assigned to work side by side with immigration agents, which might be a violation of New York's sanctuary city law. That might explain why the mayor is attending this meeting with an entourage that includes members of his own staff and moderate and conservative members of the city council. White House officials appear unwilling to compromise.
New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today.
How far the city will go, or can go legally or morally, is still not clear. Mayor Adams.
Well, let's be real. This is not a moral issue, right? I love how they want to frame this as a moral thing. This is not a moral issue. This is about the national security and sovereignty of our country, right? This is about, do we have a border? Do we don't have a border, right? Are we going to take care of the American people, or are we going to take care of illegal immigrants? The world's people, right? That's what it's about. It's about putting America first. So with that being said, Eric Adams, again, I wouldn't wish his situation on anybody, right? He really is stuck between a rock and a hard place. If I was him, I would cooperate with the Trump administration. Why is that? Well, the reason why is because Eric Adams is running for re-election. He's not doing well, right? He's not doing well. And the Democrat Party in general is just not doing well. Now, I personally believe that it would be a massive W for Eric Adams to clean up New York City, which means getting rid of the illegal immigrants, okay? Reducing crime, making the city safer, working with the Trump administration to turn New York City around. I think personally that represents a much bigger payoff than the potential consequences of pissing Democrats off by using your emergency powers as mayor to help the federal government deport the illegal immigrants, right? Yes, the far left in New York City will be upset, right? The people that are to the left of Eric Adams, yes, they will be upset, but those people are unpopular. They're unpopular. Now, again, who knows? Maybe they have better popularity in New York City than they do in the rest of the country, but still, if Eric Adams can actually help the Trump administration clean up New York City, then he puts himself in a position as somebody that is a sane and reasonable Democrat that's willing to embrace Trumpism. Now, will that help him be reelected as mayor? I don't know. I think it's his best shot. I think it's better than what he's doing right now, because right now he look like he ain't got no cojones, right? Eric Adams, he looks weak right now because he's definitely riding the fence. He's trying to play both sides. He's not in a position where you can't finesse that, Mr. Adams, right? He thought that he would be able to get more funding out of the Trump administration. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You're not going to get more money. The taxpayers, they don't want to pay for this anymore, right? We don't want to pay to house illegals in luxury hotels in New York City. We don't want to pay for that, okay? So you're going to have to accept the mass deportations. You're going to have to allow ICE to come into the city and do their job. That's what you're going to have to allow. And in the long run, it works out for him because he looks sane. He looks like a sane Democrat. Right now, what the Democrats are lacking is a sane leader, right? Somebody that is not a far left lunatic. Eric Adams has the opportunity to be that guy if he actually can sack up and take a leadership position to fight back against the far left in the state, in the city. If he fights back against them with the Trump administration behind his back, then I think that's a good chance that he can be successful. He can win re-election. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe, he could be the guy to return the Democrat Party to some sanity. but you got to choose, right? This whole trying to play both sides thing is not going to work. You're going to have to choose your side. And if you're on our side, Mr. Adams, then you're going to have to cooperate with the mass deportations. You're going to have to use everything in your power. The same thing that the president's doing right now with the executive branch, you need to be doing in New York City. Using all of your power, emergency powers, everything, to facilitate with and to cooperate with the mass deportations, period, point blank. Otherwise, I hope you like prison, right? I hope you like.
Made his position clear. He opposes mass deportations, as does virtually everyone on the city council.
Listen, we've been having good conversations with ICE. We're going to continue to do so. Our team know how important it is to coordinate. And if you're not at the table, you're not able to give real good input. And that is our goal.
Well, that is the goal, but by all appearances, the mayor of New York City is in a tough place. Now, some notes from somebody who was in that meeting that just took place. Adams told Homan what he can do under the city's laws, including executive orders that would allow ICE to operate in city jails and to increase side-by-side cooperation with the NYPD. Now, it is worth noting that the city council speaker, Adrienne Adams, was not invited to the meeting. She was not among the mayor's entourage. She will have her own press briefing at 12:30 this afternoon. We're live in Foley Square. NJ Burkett, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, Eric Adams, he needs to cooperate, right? He needs to cooperate. That's all I know, okay? I know he upset about the funding getting pulled, but, you know, you're either on board with the agenda or you're not, right? This whole dream of, oh, well, I'm going to get the criminals deported and I'm still going to get the money to take care of the other illegals and they're going to get jobs and work authorization permits and things like that. We're going to have cheap labor and no. That's not how this works. It's not how it works, okay? I don't understand why Democrats are so hesitant to essentially agree with the American people. Why are they so against the American people? This is a 60-40 issue, okay? 60% of the country wants all illegal immigrants deported, right? Not just the criminals, all of them, okay? So, you know, Democrats and their opposition to the will of the American people, it should be studied. It really should be studied moving into the future, right? Because I've never seen this type of political malpractice before, right? What is happening to the Democrat Party is political malpractice, okay? They're just on the wrong side of every issue. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.